Hi, it's Kaitlyn from Really Big Plant. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to do some plant chores, hooray, and some updates. I want to show you some things. I got this new thing for my living room that I want to set up, so we're going to do that. I also need to mix up some soil. We're going to repot some plants, finally. We're going to do a bunch of fun stuff today all over the house. Had a lot of coffee, feeling energized, so we're going to do some plant chores.
Really big plant.
Okay, so first thing, I want to show you a little update on my Monstera Thai constellation. So this is one of the variegated varieties of the Monstera deliciosa, and I just got it pretty recently, and it put out this new leaf with this huge patch of white. So I'm so excited to show this to you. This leaf has like a little fenestration and everything. I can't even believe it. So yeah, I'm really excited that this plant grew a new leaf. This one, oh, there's a little leaf down here that kind of shriveled up. I think it got bent in transport. And it came with these 3 leaves over here, but this is the new leaf that just grew in, and I am so excited about it. It is so beautiful and has this big creamy patch of white. Well, I said it's white, but it's actually this like kind of creamy yellow color, which is characteristic of the Thai constellation as opposed to like on an Albo Monstera, which is the kind that just has the white variegation. The white is much whiter. You know what? Let me go grab one. I'll show you. Okay, so this is a random little Albo Monstera propagation that I have, and you can see that the white on the white variegated leaf is whiter than the color of the white variegation on the Thai constellation. You see what I'm talking about? That's not just the lighting, that's like the color of the leaf, and I think I prefer the cream. I'm really excited that this plant grew a new leaf, and hopefully it's only a matter of time before it starts making pretty big ones. I mean, I was pretty surprised to see this little fenestration on here. One of the questions that people ask all the time is how do you get your little baby monsteras to fenestrate? And there's nothing, at least to my knowledge, that you can do to actually encourage that to happen besides just promote more growth. Fenestrations are something that are gonna happen on a Monstera deliciosa plant. Once it reaches a certain point of maturity, it's sort of like going through puberty. It's gonna happen at some point, but you can't really do anything to rush it. Well, now that I drew that comparison to puberty, I'm sure there are hormonal things. I mean, you could probably do some kind of growth hormone stimulation to a plant and have it grow faster and thereby produce fenestrated leaves faster, but I don't know if there's something that's like a chemical that would induce fenestration. If there is something like that, I have never heard of it. But my best recommendation if you're trying to encourage those fenestrations on a small Monstera deliciosa is to just give it its best possible care. Encouraging fenestration just involves giving the plant its best chance to grow like as fast as possible. If you want to put your plant in a grow tent so that it can have high humidity and bright light and you make sure that it doesn't ever dry out for too long, it's going to grow faster and get those fenestrations faster, but I don't think that there's like a trick to making it fenestrate. It's not about like amount of light or anything like that. It's just about the plant maturing as an individual. This leaf has a nice cute little hole in it, the fenestration, which just means window. Like in French, fenêtre is window. The defenestration of Prague is a famous event in European history that involved people pushing other people out of a window, hence its name, defenestration. Anyway, nobody knows exactly what the fenestrations are for because you can't really prove this kind of thing, but our best guess is that they are to allow for high winds and for light to pass through the plant. So kind of like on like a construction site, you know, while there'll be like a cloth around the fence and they cut little holes in it, that's so that the wind can blow through without blowing the fence down or pulling the cloth off. I think it's kind of the same idea on these kind of leaves. It allows the wind to pass through and it allows the sunlight to filter down between leaves as well. So that seems to make sense to me as what the evolutionary reason is for this adaptation. So as it grows, it's not like there is a predictable pattern of when the fenestrations come in. Like there are some people who say that like by the 5th leaf you'll get a fenestration. And I think that's maybe generally true, but I think that if the plant isn't growing in bright light conditions or if it's not like thriving, as in being given all of the things that it needs, it might not grow fenestrations for a while just because the plant is juvenile. It's not about like, does it have the right conditions for fenestrations? The question is whether or not it has the right conditions to just grow more in general. So You'll get these fenestrations eventually when you care for a Monstera deliciosa, like it is inevitable. Sometimes you'll get a leaf that pops out with 1 or 2 fenestrations and then the next leaf has none at all. That's not your fault, that's nothing that you're doing or should be doing differently. That's just the plant figuring it out as it grows. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show you this plant because I'm so excited to have this. The Thai constellation leaves are so like nice and leathery. I've noticed that compared to my Albo Monstera, the Thai constellation leaves tend to be like a little bit thicker, more rubbery. Maybe it's because I need to give my Albo Monsteras more nutrients, but even when I first got my Albos, the leaves never felt as like shiny and glossy as on the Thai constellation. At least that's just been my experience. And then I want to show you this Medanilla, which is from my Gabriella Plants unboxing, and this is the plant that I was the least sure about how it was going to do in my care. My humidity these days has been around a steady 10%, 10 to like 30%, which is extremely low. This plant wants to grow in the rainforest, along with like a lot of other tropicals I've got here, but I kind of just decided to take a risk and order it, and it has been shriveling up like crazy. So this is a plant that I've noticed does not like to miss a watering. When you miss a watering, the leaves just shrivel up and completely like fry to a crisp. So my advice would be, if you have a Medanilla, by the way, this is a Medanilla miriantha. So my advice would be, if you do have one of these plants, as soon as you notice it starts to look a little bit droopy, give it some water. Don't wait until it looks like pretty wilted. I don't intentionally wait, but I didn't notice how thirsty it was until it started to get very wilted. And then even after I watered it, leaves continued to shrivel up. And it was recently the Thanksgiving holiday and I did have my family here and I missed a watering on like all of my plants because I just was doing other stuff, and this plant suffered. I didn't think that it was gonna make it at all, but some of the leaves did come back, but this plant has definitely seen better days. When I pulled this out of the box, it looked a lot better. So what I've been doing for this plant, I put it in this pot with this like cup. This is the bottom half of a takeout container that I cut out, and I put this around this plastic pot so that I can fill a lot of water in here and let it stand in some water. Because I've noticed that if I just water it like a normal amount, or what I consider a normal amount for my other plants, it's not sufficient for this Medanilla. It needs way more water, so I put it in some standing water. I don't know if this plant is gonna make it. When I unboxed this, I was saying, oh, I hope it flowers for me. Now I'm just like, I hope it lives. So we'll see what happens to this. I'm trying not to get super attached to it because I have a feeling that like it might not make it when I leave over Christmas. I want to head downstairs and set up this big thing in my living room and also mix up some potting soil and show you some propagations, my pineapple plant, and some other things. So yeah, let's go down there. Okay, so last night I mixed up this big tub of coco coir, which is a potting substrate that is a very good alternative to peat moss. So the way that you use this stuff is that you soak it in water and let it expand, and then it's ready to go. It says that this will expand to at least 8 times its size, so this is a lot more than it looks like. So I just took one of the little bricks out. Each brick expands to 9 quarts, and this container is 40 cups. So 9 quarts. Quart is 4 cups, so 9 quarts is 36 cups, so it should fill most of this container. Sitting overnight, and I guess it's still kind of compressed in there, so we're gonna open it up. Let me see. This substrate is very compacted, So I thought this was gonna be easier than this, but it's like digging in the ground. I probably should have put this in a bigger container to start with. It would have been easier if it was wider. Okay, I have this giant box of perlite that I ordered, and then I put it in the back of my closet and put all this other stuff on top of it, and I completely forgot about it. So I'm super excited to open it up. It was like pretty inexpensive relatively, so I hope that it's not like bad, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm out of my return window, which is kind of a bummer. I forgot about it. I'm well outside the return window. But anyway, okay, let's go get the box of perlite. To Narnia. Okay, do you see how big this box is? Okay, this is an enormous quantity of perlite. This is 4 cubic feet of perlite. That's 120 quarts, so that's 480 cups of perlite supposedly. So yeah, there should be a lot of perlite in here. I'm hoping that it's not all dust. This whole thing was like 70 bucks or something like that. I can't quite remember how much this cost, but I will put the price on the screen. But anyway, let's open this up. Let's open it. Oh my gosh. Wow, what? This is the mega bag of perlite. Whoa. Okay, I'm just gonna cut this open. I cut like a big hole, a small hole. Do you suffer from decision paralysis? Because this is the kind of question I'm always asking. Like, should I cut the hole right here or right here? Should I cut it this way or should I cut it with the scissors this direction? Decision paralysis, I'm like really trying to work on not being this way, but the struggle is real. If you're like that, know that I sympathize with you. Putting on my mask for a second while I work with the perlite, because this is obviously an enormous bag. Can't even imagine how much perlite dust is in here, and the particulate is bad for your lungs, so just try not to breathe it. The size of particulate that comes from perlite is the kind of particle that these kind of masks are really good at keeping out. So if you have these around, I recommend putting one on when you work with perlite. Wow! Wow, look at this particle size. This is pretty good. Wow, this was so inexpensive for this much perlite. There's a huge variety in sizes. Like you can see that there's like small particulate getting stuck in my nails and stuff like that. Like it's very dusty. I think a lot of people recommend rinsing perlite before using it, but anyway, we're gonna just run with the dust. Because this is too much perlite to wash out, I feel like. Also, perlite does just like get crushed under its own weight and like from erosion and friction and stuff like that, and just and pressure breaks up these particles. Like you see this big chunk right here, you squish on it, it's gonna break apart. Like you see how it makes this dust? So the dust is something that's going to just come with the perlite no matter what you do. If you want something that doesn't have any dust, I think you might be looking for leca or like rocks. Even leca's got dust, but it's more washable than the perlite because the leca tends to not break down as much as the perlite does. Like over time, this type of perlite starts to kind of just crumble. Okay, so I'm so excited to have this giant thing of perlite. Look at how amazing this is. I've been really looking for the perfect potting soil mix since moving here and haven't been able to find one, and so I just decided to bite the bullet and order this giant perlite so I can start making my own. So I've got my mega box of perlite here, and then I also have my little tub of potting soil, which now seems very small in comparison. I'm just gonna like dump as much in here as I can fit and still mix it comfortably without it like spilling all over the place. Got a little bowl. Okay, that looks good enough to me for now. I want to repot my pineapple propagations. This is the one that I propagated in my pineapple propagation video that I did a couple weeks ago, and it's in a different jar now. In that video, I did a lot of work putting this into some like leca and did a whole complicated thing, and then after a little while that jar started to like fill up with mold. Like the leca balls kept molding even though I kept rinsing them and like put cinnamon and stuff, so I decided to just transfer this into a jar of water because that's how I'd done it before in the past. I was trying to like be fancy to like, you know, make something cute looking for you guys, but normally I just put these in a jar of water and I've never had a problem with that much mold. So I cleaned it off and then I put it in this jar of water, and it's got like a ½ inch of water at the bottom so that it doesn't sit in standing water, the plant material, and it's grown out these awesome little roots now. So I'm really, really excited about this, and I think it's ready to go into some soil. I don't think that it's like really having new growth at the top yet, but there are definitely some little roots growing. So that is super exciting. So this is continuing the legacy of the pineapple that I grew and ate in one of my videos. And then this one that I have here, this is a different pineapple propagation that I showed doing on my Instagram account. I propagated this from a pineapple that I bought at the grocery store. Actually, I got it at Costco. So I bought this as a fruit, and this was what was attached to the top of the pineapple. So I cut this off and I propagated this one, and I stuck this one straight in water. And this one has also rooted out now, and it's ready to get potted up. Although, right after I propagated this one, all of the leaves started to brown up. All of this browning happened in like the week following propagating this. So I bought the plant at Costco. It was like in the refrigerator section. It was very cold. So I think that this might be just like the result of a lot of cold damage on the fruit. But I also noticed that since I've had it, the inner part of this crown has started to grow all kinds of crazy mold, and I'm actually not sure if this one is gonna make it. So I'll show you what this looks like in here, but I think this has some pretty significant crown rot, which means that the important part of the plant, I think, is rotting. So I'm gonna try potting this one up too, and we'll see if it grows anything. I kind of have a feeling that this whole thing is gonna just rot, but it's possible that it could like try to produce a pup from somewhere on the side, maybe, if it can muster the energy for that. But yeah, this one also has some significant roots, so I want to just pot it up. So let's do that. Okay, so I've got these plants here, and I've got my big tub of half-mixed potting soil, and let me just grab my pots. Woo, okay. Anyway, so we're gonna use this. It's perfect. Okay, I'm so excited to be repotted. Fill it about halfway. Then got this plant. Finally gonna take this out of the water. Ooh, look at these roots. It kind of deep in there, and I don't want to bury the
Yay! So excited. Pineapple plant is now potted and ready to grow. Okay, so yeah, this one I'm less sure about because it's rotting on the center. So I feel like it's gonna be a real miracle if this actually grows into anything. I was considering just leaving it in here. By the way, all this yucky brown stuff is actually just cinnamon. I put a bunch of cinnamon on the bottom of this cut after I put it in here. I didn't show that in my Instagram video because I did it like the next day or something. I started to worry that this thing was developing some kind of fungal rot. So I coated it in cinnamon and stuck it back in this jar of water. Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that this is gonna just continue to rot, but we're gonna pot it up anyway, so let's do that. I don't know if you just saw that, but I like flung some soil off of one of these like a little catapult and it flew right into my coffee cup. By the way, I always call this stuff potting soil. It is not soil. If we want to get really technical, soil is the kind of stuff that's from outside that has clay in it, that's mineral based. It's got decomposing materials in it and stuff like that. This is a potting medium. It is a substrate. It is different than what a gardener will call soil. This is not regular soil. It is potting substrate. As in, it is just something I'm potting my plants in, and it kind of looks like soil, but it's not soil. This is not what plants grow in the ground outside. We use this as like an alternative because things that have compost in them tend to be really smelly. They grow molds and have a full ecosystem in them that indoors, we tend to not actually want. We want just the plant and not a lot of other life forms in there. So using these types of potting substrates that are not compost based and not even soil based are typically the go-to choice for houseplants. It's easier to control things about it too because you don't have decomposing things in there besides the regular decomposition process of whatever the primary medium is, because everything organic decomposes over time eventually, but it's not like you've got like all sorts of dead bugs, little dead leaves and plant material in there that's decomposing and leading to certain levels of unpredictability in the soil. These kind of potting substrates are much easier to control if you're the kind of person who wants to regulate every aspect of the plant care. But anyway, ta-da! There we have it. So yeah, now I've got my 2 pineapple plants all potted up and I'm so excited. Hopefully they will grow. So yeah, this one, I don't know, this one might be doomed, but hopefully this one will continue growing into a nice plant for me. So hooray! Okay, so now I want to go do my living room setup.
So this is my living room area. It's looking really empty over here because I just rearranged my couch. My couch is like this big modular sectional thing, and I used to have half of it up in this corner over here. And I decided recently that I want to put the couch back together into one big L, so I moved it back over onto this side of the living room, and now I've got this big blank space over here. I was gonna put like a little cafe table and chairs, but then I decided that I should go with this shelf unit instead. So I bought this shelf unit like 5 months ago maybe now or something like that. Assembling it was an entire ordeal. It was really, really cheap, and it came as a whole bunch of like wood sticks. Like it looked like a game of Jenga in the box with these little pieces, and it came with a mallet and gloves because this thing is cheap and splintery.
Why are there gloves in here? Is it this dangerous to set up that they included gloves? What the heck? What? $65 for like this thing that I think comes out to something pretty big, so. Why is this so funny to me? Okay, this is not what I thought. This is a literal toolkit. Okay. And of course the gloves. This box is not what I expected.
So I bought this and constructed it and then was just pretty discouraged once I was done because the thing was so dang flimsy that I felt like I couldn't actually put any plants on it because I was worried that my dog might get hurt. I'm always worried about my dog. He likes to go underneath stuff and like squeeze into small spots, but I decided that it's actually maybe more stable than I thought. As long as I don't put anything really heavy on it, I think that it's going to be a really good option. So this I ordered on Amazon, and there were like lots of different ways that it could be constructed. So I actually think that it's really cute. So I want to just go around and grab some plants and set up this side of the living room with you. Okay, so I feel like it looks super cute now. I feel like the effect overall is actually like better than I thought it was gonna be. I don't know, there's like very, very few plants on there. I didn't buy any new plants for this project, just the shelf. But I feel like definitely looks better than the white wall, but I feel like this actually looks really nice. I just need to find some last little things to put on the ground in those floor shelves. The floor in my house gets really cold. I've noticed that the smaller plants that I put on the floor tend to be kind of unhappy now that we're heading into the winter time. But yeah, let me just like tell you real quick what these different plants are. So this one all the way over here, I don't know if you can see it right now. This is my philodendron Birkin, and then this is a Peperomia polybatria. And this is a little Monstera deliciosa albo variegated one that I propagated a long time ago. This plant is clearly very reverted, or it's starting to revert, and it doesn't have that much variegation on the leaves, and it hasn't really grown in a really long time. I think it needs higher humidity. And then this is my little heart fern. It is somehow still alive. It gets really, really thirsty and looks dead, and then I water it. I still have it in this bowl because I give it a ton of water at once. Honestly, you guys, I don't think that this is gonna last for me for that much longer because all of the new leaves that try to come out shrivel up pretty instantly. So all of these leaves you see on here are the leaves that this plant came with, and every new one that grows in seems to not really make it past the little baby phase. So we're kind of on a countdown with this plant. But anyway, I've been enjoying it while I have it for now. And then this is a Peperomia Hope. It is Ooh, it's really thirsty right now. I need to give it some water in a second. But yeah, this is cute. I've just been keeping this on my dining room table. And now we can live here. I feel like it looks way better over here. And then this is my little Saxifraga stolonifera variegata, my strawberry begonia, which is not a begonia at all, but that's the common name. And it grows these little stolons with the little plants that dangle down from the side. So that's super cute. I like that there. And then what else? I've got this ficus umbellata that I'd had over on the floor of my dining room area, and it really got destroyed by spider mites, but now I think it seems to be doing a lot better and is finally growing some new leaves. So got that ficus umbellata there. And then this is a little Monstera propagation in a cup, Monstera deliciosa. And then here I've got this cute little vase that I ordered on Amazon. It's got this little like curvy shape, like a little like Mario pipe. And then I got this money tree propagation in this tiny little glass vase, and it fits right in here. I feel like that looks really cute. It's like just the pop of something different that this little setup needs to make it look a little bit more visually interesting. Okay, and then over here on this side, I've got this big money tree that I got, I don't know, not too long ago. I need to get some taller plant stands because I'm using one of the bar stools from my kitchen. I feel like it looks really cute, tall in the corner, and it can handle the slightly lower light over in this area. And then I've got my philodendron maximum that I potted up in Lecca a million years ago, almost a year ago now, and it has not grown for me a single new leaf. This is how it arrived, and this is how it has been. I don't know what's wrong with this plant. I keep the water topped off. I flush fertilizer through there. I don't know why it's not growing. I think it maybe needs a way bigger pot. But anyway, for whatever reason, it doesn't really bother me. I've been keeping it on the floor, and I think it's really cold. I think the roots might be too cold for it to push out new growth. Anyway, I've got it down here now because it got spider mites along with everything else that was on my first floor, so it has to stay down here. And then I got a little struggling homalamina over here and my little snake plant in this stand. I used to have a angel vine, a Muhlenbeckia, that I put in here that when I showed it to you guys in the video where I got it, I knew that it was gonna die and it fried up ages ago. So I got a different plant in there now, and my little variegated Monstera adansonii down in the corner. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. So this is a cute little area here, and I really like that this shelf somehow adds this interesting feel to these plants. It somehow makes them feel like more plants than there actually are, because all of these plants are pretty small. And when I was thinking about setting this up, I was worried that it was gonna look really silly, but it actually looks a lot better than I thought it was going to, so I feel really happy about that. This little corner looks really nice now, so hooray! Okay, so this is my philodendron Wend Imbi that I got from Gabriella Plants, and it's beautiful. When I unboxed this, this arrived as like a very dense, full plant. I gave this whole spiel when I unboxed this about how I expected a ton of the leaves to die off, and this plant is totally just proving me wrong and not dying off like at all. There's like, okay, maybe there's like 2 or 3 or 4 little shriveled leaves in here, but it has been doing really well in relatively low light. It's thirsty all the time because it's in too small of a pot, so we're gonna repot it. I bought this cute little face plant pot on Amazon. Oh. It should be illegal to put stickers on merchandise. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to think about how much time I've spent peeling stickers off of things. This is like one of my frustrations in life. I'm blessed that I feel that one of my difficulties in life is peeling stickers off of things. What a spoiled person thing to say. I'm so thankful for this life, you guys. Really. I feel like, especially around this time of year, in the winter and as we approach the end of the year, and it's my birthday season. I'm Sagittarius, my birthday's in December, and then it's Christmas, and it's just, and Thanksgiving right beforehand. It's like all the good feelings. I just feel so full of gratitude for every part of life.
Thank you guys for coming along with me on this journey of planting and just, I don't know, holding space for me to do this plant stuff. I hope that you're spending some time with your most loved ones these days. My little sappy moment there, getting all emotional. But I got this pot here. I ordered this on Amazon. It came in a couple of different sizes. This sticker bit on here. Okay. When I first unboxed this, I felt really strongly that this looked like a head of hair, and wanted to get a pot for it where it could shine as a little head of hair. Someone recommended that I get an oddish plant pot, you know, like the Pokemon oddish, like the little radish. But I couldn't find one that was big enough. I could only find like little small ones and didn't feel like making one. So I browsed around for some other pots that had faces and settled on this one, which is kind of like a stony stone face, but I find that I'm personally kind of like freaked out by inanimate objects that have human faces on them. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I tend to like not pick things that have faces. So I like that this one is like not that human looking. But anyway, okay, we're gonna use this. This is a little 5-inch pot. It came with this inner pot, which fits perfectly, which is really nice. Came with a little piece of wick, because the pot doesn't go all the way to the bottom, but there's this extra space here that's a reservoir for water. So you can use this little wick when you pot the plant into this pot to help soak up some of that water that fills up in that reservoir. I tend to avoid pots that are shaped like this because I found that fungus gnats tend to find the water reservoir and like to live in there. I'm gonna use it anyway. Just watered this the other day and it's in some standing water in its little saucer in here. So you take the wick and you stick it through one of the holes. And you just want to make sure that the wick is long enough out the bottom to reach the bottom of whatever reservoir you've got it in. So unlike leca, the wick, when you use a more absorbent substrate like coco coir or a peat-based mix, when you use a cotton wick in there, you don't need to pull the wick all the way up to the top like you do with leca because the soil, the substrate, is really good at wicking moisture. Oh, this is like incredibly waterlogged. Look at this. I had it sitting in standing water for the past like 2 days since I watered it. Hopefully I caught it in enough time that it's not going to cause root rot. This philodendron has surprisingly thin roots. Is like barely any bigger. I'll probably need to size this up again soon, but I think it's okay. So I've got my little face pot and I just repotted this into the pot that came with this pot. Put it in here. Oh, hooray! That is so cute now. I'm so excited about this. I feel like it looks awesome. I love that it's just kind of like subtly a face. Like you might not notice it at first, but then if you're looking at this plant for a little while, you see that there's a face on here. Wow, I really, really like this. Yay, okay. Really glad to have done some repottings today. That's really awesome. Let me just put this down. It's pretty cute. All right, you guys, this has been a really fun video for me. It's really fun to do some repottings and to open my giant box of perlite, and I always love giving you guys updates on some of the things that I've been working on. I would love to hear from you on what plants you've been repotting recently, if you've done any big ones, or if you propagated a pineapple, how your propagation is going, what plants are getting you really excited these days, any awesome new plant news you want to share with me. I would love to hear from you. 'Tis the season. Oh, by the way, speaking of 'tis the season, I have a lot of stuff in my Amazon store, like tons and tons and tons of not plant things. I love browsing on Amazon and like getting into click holes. All the fun stuff that I've been finding recently, I've just been adding into my Amazon page. I figured it's the holiday season, so if you're looking for some inspiration, my Amazon store might be a good place to start. And I do make a small commission, but like you have to sell so many things on Amazon to make any actual payout. Like I barely get paid enough to get paid out every month on Amazon, like $10, you know? So anyway, I do this for you guys. It's not because the benefit is big for me. So if you want to shop my Amazon lists, I've prepared them for you. So yeah, I really hope that you are having a cozy start to the holiday season. I love it when we head into December. December is probably my favorite month. It just feels so magical. Thank you so, so much for watching and spending this time with me. I felt like I had a really fun time today. So yeah, I hope that your plants are bringing you joy and that you're having a fantastic week. And I hope to catch you in the next one.